welcome to season 5 of Crypto City. I can't believe that this is episode 67. Huge thank you to all of you, our audience, our guests, our sponsors, and our team. I'm honored to have continued support from all of you and blessed to have the team that I have to make this vision of mine succeed. I'm super grateful. This season, we have a few new updates. As you will have seen upon arrival, we moved the spawn point into the Wall of Fame room. There's 2 reasons for this. One, so you can all take a moment to see the previous guests who've joined us and shared their knowledge and experiences and resources with us. And 2, so that we can help with crowd control, as written in the notifications that you agreed upon entering, so that, everyone can enjoy the experience by knowing to, mute themselves and to be respectful. So we're hoping that this will help this season as well. We're really proud to share that all of our sponsors have returned: DJ Marcus J, Kip VR, Fuchsia, Sato Mora, and Second Life Rich. And we welcome a new sponsor, the Diamond Resilience, led by Boss Leo. So we're super grateful for all of your support so that we can continue bringing on the trainers and updating the technology here in the studio. And going back to speaking of our amazing team, I am super excited to announce that joining Blue Moon, Loudfire, Kip VR, and myself is DJ Marcus J. Marcus has been, part of our team behind the scenes for quite a while, helping out with the marketing and always promoting us. And now he's been working behind the scenes, creating a special camera system for us. And we're excited to roll this out with his management over the next couple of weeks. So right now we're still doing the traditional camera from the front angles, but he's created this system that's going to be able to take pictures from different angles, including the audience. So make sure you wear your best clothes because you're going to be on camera at some point. So we're excited about that as well and love to have DJ Marcus as part of our team. So tonight, in a few minutes, we're going to have a technology whiz team joining us. We'll be visiting with TechSnob from MetatechVR along with Jedi DVJ. They've really been doing some incredible things in tech, both in VR and IRL, and actually the 2 realms combined. So you're going to love hearing what they have to say. But first, let's do a quick recap of some things that happened since we took our summer break, because it has been a little while. So lots have been happening in AI, and y'all know how much I love AI, starting with healthcare and AI. So there's a healthcare company called Color, and it's a tech company, and they teamed up with OpenAI to create a new tool that helps doctors make better cancer screening and treatment plans. So the tool looks at the patient's medical information and helps doctors catch things that they might have missed, making sure that the patients get the right tests and care from the doctors much more quickly. And by speeding up this process, it can save valuable time in treating cancer, which we all know is very important. And Color plans to use this tool over the next couple of months in 2024 to help over 200,000 patients with cancer. So this is very exciting news. And then researchers at Cambridge University have developed an AI tool that can predict with over 80% accuracy whether patients with mild cognitive impairment will progress to Alzheimer's disease. The AI analyzes data from the different cognitive tests and MRI scans, which actually helps save money for patients because it can avoid the cost of invasive procedures like a PET scan. And it classifies the patients into 3 groups: those likely stable, those who may decline slowly, and those who are at risk of rapid progression. So the tool was validated with 6 years of follow-up data. So they've been working on this for a little while and tested in the memory clinics worldwide, offering promising approach for early Alzheimer's detection and to hopefully start working with these patients sooner, and maybe their loved ones will get a little bit more time with them, which would be wonderful. Moving on to tech and AI. Apple actually paused work on the expensive version of their Vision Pro headset to focus on creating a more affordable model and aiming to release it by the end of 2025, but that's kind of bumping up a little bit, so it might be sooner. This more budget-friendly version will actually still have all the high-quality displays, but will be much less expensive at only about $1,600, so similar to that of like a high-end iPhone. Still too much more money for me, but it is a little bit more affordable for some of the developers. And Apple is also working on adding new AI features to their Vision Pro headset, including improved Siri. If she could please understand my accent, I would appreciate that a lot. And, an OpenAI powered chatbot. But these features may not be in this next version. It may be a little bit further down the road. Apple has also reportedly been in talks with Meta to integrate Meta's AI models into all of its Apple Intelligence system. And actually, Apple is considering partnerships with several AI companies, including Meta, beyond that collaboration. So the rumored deals would allow Meta and others to offer premium AI subscriptions on the Apple devices, with Apple taking a share of the revenue, because we all know it ends up coming down to money at the end of the day. But this potential partnership could actually make a significant shift, offering users more AI options and giving Meta a broader platform across its AI surfaces. So, in exciting and a bit edgy news, BMW Group conducted a first round of tests with humanoid robots in producing vehicles using Figure 2, which is actually part of Figure AI, that's an open AI backed startup. Down in South Carolina, over 2 weeks, they successfully fitted sheet metal parts into car chassis, and it basically showed how dexterous the AI could be. This initial test kind of aims to explore how robots could be integrated into the production systems. I don't know if I'm ready for that, but it looks like that's where we're going. So a robot could be building your car. But the reality is there's a lot of things that are done already automated by computers. So now it's just actually having the robots doing the physical labor as well. In looking at, AI and just in general, some of the advancements, OpenAI introduced Search GPT, which is similar to like a Google search using ChatGPT. The development could significantly impact how people search for information online. And I know I personally have used ChatGPT many times to look for things that are past, over a year old if I'm looking for previous data information. And it's been surprisingly accurate and actually given me much better results than Google, because I'm getting exactly what I'm asking for instead of a whole bunch of web pages to search through. In entertainment news, we had Universal, Warner, and Sony Music Groups suing AI music startups Udio and Suno for using or allegedly using copyrighted music to train their AI models. The Recording Industry Association of America is seeking up to $150,000 for each infringed piece of work. So that could end up being a real game changer, because it could either set up new industry standards or it could lead to settlements and licensing agreements. So either way, it's going to have an impact. But contrary to that, AI audio company 11 Labs actually introduced new iconic voices. It's a feature into their Reader app, allowing users to have text read by AI gathered voices from famous Hollywood people like Judy Garland and James Dean. The voices are actually licensed and have agreements with CMG Worldwide, which actually manages the estates of this deceased people. So that's kind of cool, because then you could end up having somebody famous reading to you, which is, definitely more interesting. I know we're moving in that direction anyways, but now it will be actually doing it legally. And then lastly, we've heard that OpenAI is developing a secretive new AI model called Strawberry, designed to enhance AI reasoning and enable autonomous internet research. So the new model aims to navigate internet independently for deep research. And, this is a development that comes to the AI world eagerly, as, everybody anticipates OpenAI's next major integration. And then Google, trying to play catch up, is introducing a new Take Notes for Me feature in Google Meet, which, seems to me like a little behind the times. These things already exist out there, but they're trying to move forward. And, this just highlights Google's, push toward using AI assisted work in their resources for everyone. Stepping away from AI and looking at crypto, the financial market is just so volatile right now. That's typically influenced by, factors including like supply and demand, production costs, regulatory changes. But right now, I think there's a lot more involved in there. The global stock market decline and the uncertainty around the U.S. presidential election is definitely contributing to the market instability. And in the crypto world, Bitcoin at one point dropped down below its lowest level since February at like $49,883. And Ether fell below $2,200. So this decline, it is, relevant to the climate that we're going through right now. It's also, has to do with all these ETFs coming in and low inflows from them. So the SEC approved, Ethereum to do their ETF back in July. And, this was a huge milestone. And right after, Ethereum dropped 20%. But we still had nearly $49 million invested for the inflows. So I think that people are feeling, the need for this. It's a roller coaster ride right now. So hang on tight for all the crypto enthusiasts, because we're in for a bit of a ride here for a while. And then closing out with some meta news. Quest users have no doubt noticed some changes in your home environment and the mobile app. Both have taken on a very strong Horizon Worlds feel. Well, Meta took away the ability to glitch worlds a couple weeks ago, too, so that, you can't get as many people glitching them to try and get more people in and increase the capacity. Capacity still remains a challenge on that platform, but more builders are also being able to use Mesh over in Horizon, and hopefully over the next couple months with some give and take, we're going to see some improvements all the way around to both capacity and technology. I'm still hoping that we might be able to get a season of Crypto City in there at some point, but until then, the Horizon community, you're welcome over here. We've got plenty of space for you in VR chat. And next month, on September 25th and 26th, if you're not already signed up for the reminders, MetaConnect is taking center stage and unveiling Meta's latest digital innovations. So make sure, if you don't already have this, go onto their website, sign up to get the reminders. I've already registered. I know there's a lot of people signed up for this. And, while Meta has kept the specifics under wraps, the buzz is kind of building around the potential breakthroughs in AI, smart glasses, VR headsets, and the mixed reality technologies. So hopefully, we're going to see some big things coming through, and it's going to be exciting. There's a lot happening over the last 2.5 months. Time is moving fast, and everybody just needs to hold on, because we're moving forward at a rapid pace. So this season, I have a lot of great guests coming on. Super excited to share them with you. Starting right now, I'm very excited to welcome to the stage the team from MetatechVR, TechSnob and Jedi. Please join us. Welcome.
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, welcome.
How's it going?
Come on in, grab a seat.
All right.
So welcome to our show. It's great to have you here. Hopefully, we are going to be able to capture some of the amazing work that you have been doing. It's super exciting. And, both of you I met in AltSpace, and we've kind of, traveled our different ways through the metaverse. But, also it's important to point out, we also have in the audience Joe, who is an integral part of this team as well. And we'll get talking in a little bit about how the team got together and everything. But, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about, your start in the metaverse and AltSpace and how you guys kind of came to where you are now.
Thank you for having us on the show. Number one, I appreciate that. And most of the people that are out in the audience, we do go back. We have history. Thank you guys for coming out today as well. Basically, we got our start in VR in AltSpace. This was, right before the pandemic had started. That's when I became more active in VR. At the time, I also buy and sell real estates. And here in New York, we had a raging pandemic that was going on. It was shut down for some time. So I got more into that. I do have a background in IT, but it was never in VR or building, these types of environments or anything like that. But so, I got some time on my hands right now before they start opening up real estate again. Let's see where I want to go with this. I had an interest in VR from a long time ago. Back in the day, there was this movie called The Lawnmower Man that was like amazing to me when I first saw it.
Movie.
And it was basically one of my first introductions into VR, and I had dabbled in it a little bit, but it wasn't until I had more time to actually work with it and see how powerful VR is, and it just from a communication standpoint. Basically at the time we were all in alt space. Some of the people, that we hung out with are here right now. It was a very good way to connect with people. And from a business standpoint, I started saying, there could be some way to create some revenue with this. So let's see what it's all about. Some of the first worlds I went into, when I first went into VR, there's a lot of people that I admire their work, one of them being Artsy. She was some of the first worlds that I went and saw. I met somebody else named Miss Peeps at the time. She was building, and I just started getting more involved. Like, how do they do this? There's another guy named Joker. He was actually a car guy. So that's what I had gravitated to in the beginning, like cars and stuff. Some of the people, I had a friend, I think Scum's here. He was actually one of the first guys I was practicing with the cars and trying to make them look dope. And he was like, this looks pretty good. I was just making them for friends. I was like, I'm just practicing here. I don't know what I'm doing. And I just started getting better and better at customizing the cars. And that's where like my real love of VR started. It's like, look, anything that you can think of in here, you can do it, as long as you find, there's tutorials everywhere. YouTube's all over the place. This is the kind of stuff that you can go find information about that's free. The tools that you're using to build, the reality you want to build are free. So, why not jump into it and explore what you can do? And as I started getting a little bit better at what I did, in alt space, when you built and you were uploading something, you had to wait a little bit of time before you'd actually see it, just before it spawned. It's like, all right, I just uploaded it. Where is it? And then you'd know what it looked like on your computer, but you wouldn't know what it would look like until it really popped into your environment. Then you would have your final product and be like, it's dope, or it's not good at all. So it was that anticipation that I had before. Every time I would see something that I would just come out of my head, I was that time between the upload and actually seeing what you did. It was almost like an adrenaline. I was like, wow, this is dope. So I started making more and more and more, handing them out to friends. And then other people were kind of like, oh, this is dope. Let me get one. Let me get one of these cars. And I was like, all right, here. And that same anticipation that I had saw when I didn't know what my expectations were, where it was just spawning in front of me, I would see that when I would give these things, I would give them away to people and they'd be, yo, I like this is dope. I like this shit. So I was like, all right, cool. It's giving people a piece of something that, maybe they would want or, and otherwise couldn't get or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool. And it was from there that we started transitioning and putting worlds together, start talking to other experts, getting tips from people. Even when we were doing the cars, there was a lot of people that were openly giving us information about the metaverse and what it's all about, and certain tools that we had to use to get from A to B. And then we just built on top of it. We just destroyed probably 400 or 500 kits before we even had an understanding of what was going on. And later on, I had first started creating these things by myself, basically. And then Joe came into the picture. I think it was about the time when I think they had just transitioned into URP. I got a little better at what I was doing. I said, you know what, I want to make a Halloween party, but it kind of didn't work because my whole project got destroyed at the time of the transition.
URP, the pink nightmare.
Yeah, it did. It killed my dreams because I was like, this is my first world and I'm gonna have my first event, stuff like that. And that's where I met Joe, and ever since then, Joe and I started working together, and just exploring and still continuing to learn, and exploring different metaverses and what they have to offer, like what some of the strengths are, what some of the weaknesses are, and what we can utilize these things for different use cases. And it just got us to where we are now, which is we've transitioned out of the metaverse and more bridging it with reality at this point, because there's a lot of companies and there's a lot of entities that are very interested in what's going on in here right now, because very, very, very soon these bridges are going to be continued to be built, where these two types, reality and VR are going to work together seamlessly, and that's coming very soon. The infrastructure is already there, the legislation is already passed, and it's just about the devices that we're going to have on our face, which is going to determine when people are going to have more of this out in the street.
So a lot of the stuff that you learned in AltSpace, even though AltSpace went away, the technology you were still able to carry forward with you to kind of grow into the other metaverse platforms. Now, obviously, you mentioned meeting Joe and starting working together. And when you guys were doing, like we see the cars up on the screen right now, like when you guys were working and building those cars together, I mean, this is just somebody you met that you actually click with. It was, easy to work with. But if you're delivering these out to people, I know personally, because I had really cool Jeeps that you made for me, they were amazing. And so when you're making these for someone and you're actually working with another person, it's hard to, find the right people to work with, that your dynamic is going to flow. And then if you're going to start shifting from, metaverse platform to metaverse platform, you really got to make sure this is somebody you're going to be able to get along with and produce on a regular basis. And if you're making it into a business and working and actually monetizing, that's even more critical. What are some of the things that you were able to what are some of the things that made finding this team the right one?
I think our ability to work well together, because Jedi and I started working together, Joe, all three of us at the End of the World event last year. When the platform was going down. It was a pretty good event. We had 10 DJs, and it was dope. It turned. It was going to be something else in the beginning. It was just like, no, we're just going to have a party. But then we found out like a week and a half later, or 2 weeks, that the whole platform was going down. It was like, well, hey, I guess we don't need vendors now. And it's over basically up in here. So we're just going to have a party. We're going to get DJs together, and then we're just going to call it the End of the World. So to answer your question, we learned from each other that we all excel in a specific lane. Okay, not all of us possess the same skill sets. We have some of the same skill sets, but there's just something in particular that each one of us will excel at. And we can just set each other in that role, in that lane, and just say, now I can fully focus on what I do. Jedi focus fully on what he does, and Joe will work on what she does best. And at that point, we don't really have to worry about if things are going to get done, because they're just going to get done. And I think another thing between us three is the ability to trust each other. That's a big thing. That's a big thing, especially when you're working with a team and there's finances that are involved. Having the ability to work well with your team and have that trust, that's big for me. Especially if you're trying to develop things, that require certain levels of secrecy at some point. But being able to trust each other, I think that's something that's also made our team pretty strong.
So let's talk about navigating the different platforms, because obviously AltSpace is gone. We have to all go somewhere, and people are doing work over in Horizon. People are doing work here in VRC, Cluster, Banter, all these different programs. How did you transition? I mean, here we have, the different platforms that people have been on. So, how did you find the skill set transitioned over, and what were the challenges
to transition into the metaverse? Is that what your question is?
Well, from AltSpace out into a different metaverse platform.
Okay. Basically, when when AltSpace went down, we had already formed a working relationship. Joe and I, we had already been together working for a couple of years already. Jedi and I, we had worked very well. He managed that entire DJ team. Basically, after only us having maybe 2 weeks of conversations, he just went and did his thing. So I knew that, with this squad right here, transitioning to other things once we found out that these platforms were going down wasn't going to be too hard. And I could probably speak for the rest of the team. We miss AltSpace, to be honest with you. It was dope. It was home. AltSpace was home, and it will always be home. It
will.
But at the end of the day, it caused people to either quit, or what are you going to do? Quit after putting in all that energy, or are you going to go do something else and you're going to have to expand? Those were the choices that a lot of people had. There's a lot of people who's in this office or in this audience right now who did expand. You know what I'm saying? They went out and been like, well, that went down. That was like training camp. That was like boot camp. But you're gonna have to pivot or quit. Yeah. And I'm glad we didn't do that. I'm glad we decided to say, hey, we're gonna go. Let's bounce around these metaverses and see what they have to offer. Because right now, if you're doing things in a metaverse and you have a skill set and you're good at it, we're not saying that we're the best at everything, but I know there's a lot of people out here that's really good about different things. Keep going with it, because this is the beginning of something big. Okay, this is the beginning. This is where generational wealth is going to be made. You're early in the game, even if you're starting right now. And I wholeheartedly believe where this platform is going. And so does my team.
Good, because we're looking forward to things that you bring to us. So let's talk about the crossover from the technology learned in VR to IRL, and kind of how you've made that evolution to take these skills and how you're actually incorporating them right now.
Basically right now we're not I'm not saying we've transitioned out of VR. I think that we're bridging it, basically, because some of the technologies that we're using are already capable of being in VR, and in VR we are actually working with holograms at this point, and bringing these technologies into entertainment. We have working models of these things at this point, and they'll be deployed very soon. So we had the opportunity to work with a company down in New York City. I have a relationship with a friend of mine for about 40 years, and he had seen some of the work that we were doing in VR, some of the events, some of the things that we were building, some of the things that we were doing, just from our IG page. We follow each other. And there was a volumetric capture studio that was built at a studio in the Lionsgate Plaza down in Yonkers, New York, and they didn't have anybody to actually manage it at the time. So he was like, hey, come through. And I was like, yeah, I have VR skills, and I know you want to do the integration, so let me come down and see what we can do. So basically, if we hadn't done anything in VR, that opportunity would have not bridged at any point, because there would have been no types of skill sets that was learned. You know what I'm saying? And most of our things that we've learned was either from YouTube or just reading articles or going into different message boards or whatever. And this was like years of doing that. So basically, it was in a situation where we had to go out and be formally educated about this kind of stuff. Basically, most of the stuff that we know is self-taught, and it worked out for us because at the right time, there was people who needed these types of skill sets, and we had the opportunity. So it's when you prepare yourself, when preparation meets opportunity, that's when you're going to be successful. And I don't want to say that we got to be at the right place at the right time, but I think a lot of our preparation, just having fun and learning different things and knowing some people and what their needs were, and that we could provide that service for them, helped out a lot. So that was the major piece for transition right there, just being prepared.
So now, with the work that you're doing with the holograms over there, I know that some people from here in VR have actually come in through your studios and, gotten to see this, one-on-one. But also, so Jedi, you're actually involved with this also. So not just working with each other here in the metaverse, but you're actually working with each other now out in the real world. So explain, what you're kind of doing with that, and how some of this has transitioned into people from VR coming through to get scanned, and the technology.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I actually got to meet Tech in person when I went down to New York to help with that setup of the basically the studio. So my background is like obviously I DJ and the video DJing, but I have a technical background too, and a lot of project management. So it was a natural fit for me to kind of go down and try to help where I could down there. And it was a really great experience. Got to meet Ted, got to set up parts of the studio, and it was really good. So I mean, through the metaverse, I was able to meet Ted, and now I'm working with Ted inside and outside of the metaverse. So it's great for me. I'm really enjoying that.
That's wonderful. And so you've had, some like we see Nor here up on the screen. So she came down and you got to scan her. So this tell us about the scanning itself. So you're scanning them into a hologram.
Correct.
I know you've mentioned to me when we've talked, you can actually save these files to actually add AI to them.
Correct. Basically, with these types of files and the way that we capture them and the way that we store them, you can have AI connected to them as a bot of some sort.
Okay.
That's possible. We currently have some coders that are working on this technology right now. We really can't talk about it too much because we have NDAs in place.
Of course, yeah.
But that is definitively possible. So basically, it's like this. I could talk about this because this is one of my use cases. Okay. And I'm just going to say it. One of my use cases that I had come up with over there, and I'm going to say it because if somebody wants to go do it before me, so be it. Basically, what was important to me, I have a mother who's almost 80 years old. Okay. I have a father who's 83 years old. Okay. Basically, I had both my mother and my father come into the studio, and they were scanned. So basically, I have a holographic representation of my parents as long as I keep them on a hard drive at this point. Okay, the technology is excelling to the point that you can literally attach AI to these types of holograms, and they will have similar personalities as the real person. Obviously, they'll be trained with whomever the person is, just so that they can get a familiarity with the person. That can be done. But one of the use cases that I came up with was, if somebody, we don't always get to say goodbye to people. You can have a hologram scanned of somebody at a funeral or something. I don't know. Some people say it sounds morbid, stuff like that. I have a scan of myself. I do have kids. So I would welcome that. It could provide some type of closure for somebody where they can actually see a representation of the person, that maybe the final message or whatever. So that's something we're also working on. We're also working in an educational system where we're promoting reading and integration of holograms with certain reading programs, so that it'll incentivize kids to continue to read books and stuff like that. We're also working with some celebrities. We've had some AAA celebrities that we've worked for. We're actually doing some other work right now. There's an upcoming movie about the life of a boxer. He's a well-known boxer, but we can't say who he is. We're also going to be doing some deep fake work with them. We also do that where we do a lot of face swapping and special effects kind of stuff. So it's been, and I'm going to say it again, if it wasn't for buying a headset because of a pandemic,
none of this.
If somebody came to me 8 years ago and said, "Hey, this is what's going to be going on," you know what I mean? I would have been like, "Man, whatever you say, whatever you're smoking, give me some of that,"
So let's talk about the education that you're talking about. You have the SIC Film School. Let's talk about that a little bit. That's interesting.
Correct. That's my homie. We go back for like 40 years, like since we was little. I'm over the age of 40s. We go back from the time we were little kids. And he's actually been a major motion picture studio director, media. He's been doing a lot of different things for over 30 years. He's worked with Bad Boy Entertainment, 50, like all the big names in hip hop, stuff like that. And he started a program called Glocks for Ox. He's also part of the United Nations Anti-Gun Violence Coalition. So he's very anti-gun violence because he was a victim of gun violence himself, like 20-something years ago. And basically, it's a program where you come in and you hand in illegal weapons. It's sanctioned through the police department amnesty program. And you hand in an illegal weapon and you get a free headset. That's one of the initiatives. You'll get an Oculus and get the gun off the street. That's one of the programs. We also do another thing called Tap In Tuesday, where we have experts that come in. They come in from all different walks of technology, and the kids come in every Tuesday and they'll learn some type, whether it be AI, how to build something in Blender or a Unity class, stuff like that. And we are also looking for people who's willing to do that on a rotating basis if they're interested. There will be workshops that are going to be created, and there's compensation for these things because there's also a campus that's being built that's going to be completed by the end of 2025. So basically, we are looking for people in the technology industry, whether they be VR associated or otherwise, who are willing to take on some of these classes. It's for compensation, and that'll be next year. So there's just a lot of things that are going on down there, especially from the educational standpoint. Basically, we're associated with about 1,800 schools in the 5 boroughs. And through the film school, they're actually putting a lot of these learning centers inside of some of the schools down there. They're just opening up one of them down in Staten Island right now. That's actually an SIC location, and these things are going to be dotted all over the place. Basically, we're taking technology and putting them in places that you thought they would never be. Because and it's very much catered to economically challenged neighborhoods, maybe where there's violence, unemployment, lower educational standards in some of the areas, and we want to take these technology hubs and say, hey, we're going to drop that in a corner of this block, and on your way home from school, stop by, and you're going to get taught how to make a hologram, or you're going to get taught how to make an avatar, or you're going to learn something about the metaverse. So these are actually emerging. These are all sanctioned, and they're funded by local, state, and county government. So they'll be popping up all over the place. And we actually just got the backing of a major film studio to actually put one in Miami, probably. I think it's supposed to be the end of next year as well. So
that is
I'm
impressive.
I'm happy to be a part of it. My homie's been champion. He's very much a philanthropist, and he's very much in his goal is to basically heal humanity through technology.
I love it.
And a lot of that rubbed off on me too. I was more in the beginning. I was more like on the business side, like this is going to be very lucrative, which it is. And you're going to make this money. You're going to make this type of money. It's an emerging technology. The stuff is expensive. But as I got more involved with the class part of it, it was a lot more gratifying when you saw the kids come through and they actually like something or learn something that they wouldn't have known otherwise than getting the money. And that's when Jedi got involved. I was like, Jedi, this is this is a good program over here. These cameras that, fly on in from Canada. And he's actually coming down again in January. We have another opportunity that has come around with an event that's coming up that he's already going to get booked for to actually be a video DJ at a Metaverse technology / fashion event. So
that's incredible too. This is, it's really amazing. The technology itself in and of itself is amazing, but to see it being used for such a positive impact. You talk about all the programs that have been put over the years. Obviously people were like, put books in the kids' hands, and then obviously nobody wanted books anymore. Video games came around. They were much better. And then it was like, okay, well, get kids to go to the YMCA and play basketball and do all these things to keep them off the streets. But, times change. And this is something that is exciting. People, like you said, teach a kid how to make a hologram. Really? Teach a kid how to make their own avatar. Those are things that are exciting
exciting and appealing to the crowd now, you know? And I mean, you have to be current in order to stay in front of them. And if you want to keep these kids out of trouble and keep them off the street and, you know, trade in a gun, get a headset, the gun is not going to do them any good. The headset's going to give them, you know, education, training, and also, you know, something that's entertaining that they can go home, share with their family. And I mean, that's impressive in and of itself.
100%.
And I love that you guys are giving back.
Right. I mean, a lot of the community, they don't even understand how much, you know, this emerging technology is even going to be affecting them or already affecting them, you know, and that's part of the goal. The part of the goal is to expose as many people to the technology before it's too late. And maybe that they can take an advantage of it. The goal of the school that's being built, it's going to be, it is a film school, which merges technology with film. So anything from virtual production, which reduce costs of building, you know, movie sets, stuff like that. It's mostly green screen stuff with volumetric 3D holograms. It's usually cheaper than building sets. They'll be learning how to do that. And being that it's in a complex that houses billion-dollar companies, we want to create some experts and bring experts in to help us create experts so that they can have these jobs available for them. We actually have an intern that had come in. He was at the time he wasn't going the right way. You know what I mean? Right now he can come. Right now, from what he's learned, you know, at the school, he can command about $2,000 a day just based on his ability to create holograms because it's a market right now where there's not a lot of technicians who understand what's going on.
You hear that, everybody? Go learn how to make holograms. 2,000 a day. 2,000 a day. That's not bad.
And that's just and it's basically just because the software and the technology in that's involved, it's not easy to get your hands on it. So if you have an opportunity to work with it, you're going to be that much more in demand because there's going to be less technicians out there. So there's a couple of these interns right now that not the developers, but the creators of the technology, because we actually work with them. They afford a certain beta and alpha software to test out because we use it in such high volume. And you know, they've even come in and said, you know, your students are doing very well. You know, they can command these types of dollars. You know, and they've even invited them into their studios, which are very, very, very large studios, to tour and see what opportunities that they might be able to get.
And that's another way to get them excited about the possibilities for their future as well, which is
that's
100%. That's very cool.
It's about options. It's about options, to be honest with you. Sometimes when people feel like they don't have no options, they're going to take the options that, you know, the options that they do see, you know, and go with that, even if it's a bad option. And what we would prefer to do is create a whole bunch of options. So where that option you might have had before is stupid, that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to go over here where I'm actually going to have a future, and we enjoy doing that, and it's just going to keep growing. You know, as long as we stick to it, and we have the support of the community, and we still keep getting the students coming.
So in addition to all the stuff that you're doing with the social community, the stuff you're doing at the studios, the stuff you're doing here in VR, you also have a radio station, and you've got, you know, your show, and Jedi, you have your DJ sets over there. Tell us a little bit about Metawave Radio.
You want to kick it off, Ted, or you want me to take it?
Well, I started and you finish it because this is the man right here with the radio station. Basically, in the beginning, I'm gonna pass it off to you. I'll just introduce it. In the I like to talk a lot, I guess
one of the
I do.
reasons we got the radio station.
That's one of the reasons why we got the radio station. That's one of the reasons why we got it. Because I was like, you know, I always wanted to try hosting a radio show. And then Jedi, well, he's a DJ. You know, and he plays a lot of music. He has a heavy library of all kinds of music, and it was an obvious thing. We was like, let's just put the radio station together. It can actually complement everything else that we're doing, and let's see how it works out. We just celebrated our first year, and you know, I'll let Jedi explain to you how things work over there.
Yeah, so you know, the radio station, like Ted said, we were discussing it, and we said, yeah, let's put this thing together and give it a shot and see how it goes. Here, you know, we're happy to celebrate our first year. We've had,
Congrats.
you know, thank you so much. We've had, you know, some good collaborations with different people. We had a radio station on a show called Whose Vibe Is It Anyway, which was an actual radio show that we got the rights to rebroadcast for
Okay.
the first little while. So we rebroadcasted their shows. Shout out to DJ Rossi Ross and uh, THT Entertainment. Those are the guys who run that show. It's based out of Montreal. They do some of the shows in Montreal, some of the shows in Toronto. They record them and they're going. So we're in talks with them for getting another season together for them. But we've done other things too. We've launched some music from an artist called Alexa Rain. We got some original music that we launched before she actually released it on like YouTube and Spotify and stuff like that. So that was really nice. Just different shows that we put together. Both me and Ted are around the same age, so we like a lot of the old school stuff. So we have like a grown folk show. We have like 80s, 90s stuff. We even have 70s stuff, all the way up to
Joe's
current day.
hard
So
rock.
yeah, we got Joe's hard rock show that she
Joe's
put
got
together.
the hard rock.
So we
Okay.
just wanted something that we could kind of play with and kind of just do whatever we felt like doing. And the response has been great. We've had a lot of people kind of come through and we have our fellowship is growing. We're seeing the numbers go up month to month, so it's really exciting, and it's a lot of fun too.
Mhm.
I've been a DJ like going on for 40 years now, literally. So I have a very wide range of music, and I like taking requests too. Like when I DJ sets and stuff like that. I mean, actually, City, you were one of the first people who hired me for an actual paying event in the metaverse. So I thank you for that. Back in Turn Up Tuesdays,
Yep.
way
Back in
back
alt
then.
space.
Yeah, back in alt space, so that was really good. And actually, DJ Marcus, I mean, he was one of the first guys I met in alt space too.
Mhm.
Um, and he was the one who encouraged me to do the DJ competition. There's a lot of people that we go way back, and thankful for the stuff that you guys have kind of led me down the path in the metaverse because I was brand new to it too, and I was just a DJ. I wasn't a builder. I was never really a builder. So I really enjoyed that stuff. But working with Ted and Joe, they got the building down pack. I don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm more on the coordination side and kind of the management side. So radio station is something I enjoy doing. It's a great hobby for me, and we have fun with it.
That's great. And
Right.
for the record, there's no such thing as just a DJ. DJs are awesome, so don't discount it because the
Yeah,
DJ makes or breaks the party and the events and everything else. So,
Right.
um,
right.
That's true.
but Tech, tell us. You also have a show called Tech Talks Tech, and what started
Correct.
that, and what is your goal with that?
Well, originally it was going to be called Ted Talks Tech because my name's Ted, and
So TED Talks.
I knew that. Yeah, they couldn't sue me because my name's Ted, but then we just said, no, I'm just going to say Tech Talks Tech. So I always wanted to speak to the. I talk somebody to death if they got good information. To be honest with you, I like to talk to people. Okay, and especially if it's interesting. A lot of people in this audience, I've had conversation. We got Kip out here. Kip and I, we've had conversations for long periods of time. Just about metaverse stuff, and he was on the show, and
Mhm.
some other people, that was out here. But I wanted to bring experts in that are doing things in the metaverse because some of the most smart people that I've ever met are in this space, and not a lot of people know what's going on. And like I always say, I say that if if I needed a team of experts, and I think I said this to you, I would know where to go find them, and I'd probably be able to get them like in a day or two to fill in
Mm,
holes that we couldn't fill. You know what I'm saying? If somebody I knew was particularly good in a certain direction, I know where to find them. But they're not
sure.
getting enough exposure. So we want to expose what's going on and provide a gap filler, a bridge between the metaverse and the real world. And basically, that's what Tech talks about anybody who's transitioning either a business, from outside it in the real world and bringing it into the metaverse, or if they're just starting up something altogether in the metaverse, or whatever, whether you're a DJ, whether you're a builder, whether you're an avatar creator, if you're AI guy, whatever you're
Mhm.
doing, we want you on the show. And we had the opportunity to take the cross section of that and get some of the most smart and enlightening conversations from people who are basically the pioneers of what's going on. We had you on the show. You'll be airing on Wednesday, and I'm on your show right
Thank
now.
you.
So basically, the things that we're doing right now, no matter any way anybody looks at it, whether we're going to go out there and make $1 billion or we're not going to make anything, we are the pioneers of this space right now. And it deserves to have a light shed on it. Somebody might read about any one of us in here one day. The next Bezos of the metaverse might be sitting out here right now,
It's true.
or Elon Musk of the metaverse might be in this room right now. We don't know. But one thing that can't be changed is that we're here first. We're basically in the Atari generation of VR right now. We're in the Atari phase of this. This is the beginning, and in 20 years from now, who knows where it's going to be. So that's the reason why we created Tech Talks Tech, because we want people to know what's going on.
And I think that people need the exposure like that so that people will know who's out here, who's doing what, and
Right.
those who are doing tech related things, which is obviously what your show's about, is a resource for others who might be seeking out people with those skills. Perfect
100%.
place for it. So
Correct.
let's talk about your future plans for, Metatech VR as a whole, both in here in the metaverse. I mean, obviously you're moving forward with technology in real life with the holograms and everything else, but what's next for you in here?
Basically, the holograms plays a part in what we're going to do in the metaverse.
Okay.
It's a big piece of that. That's broke. It's almost where it needs to be, and we're happy about
Exciting.
about where it's at.
Oh, fun.
And that's probably our biggest project right now for what
Okay.
we're doing. We just want to continue to be involved. Otherwise, helping people create environments. We're working with a couple other people in the entertainment industry. We're actually speaking with them about collaborating on some projects in here as well. So basically, we just want to continue to be involved and seeing how we can bridge the gap between what's going on in here and out there to make this more mainstream. Because at some point, it's going to be that way. From the things that I've seen working down at the studio for over a year now, or about a year now, there's things that are coming right now that corporations are very interested at this point in what they want to do. Everything is lining up. The dots are lining up for this to be very lucrative, and we just want to continue to be involved and see what we can do. What's our part? What are we going to do to try to push this forward? What is everybody else going to do to push it forward? And that's where we just want to be involved. I had Second Life Rich on the show one day, and that's what he said, and I totally agree with him. I said, where do you want to be in the next 10 years in the metaverse? And he said, I want to be involved. And I was like, I got to agree with you on that, because it's just an exciting time with how fast things are moving with AI and the integration of AI. And you have things like Neuralink. You got the metaverse coming together. You have AR out in the environment. You're getting different wearables that are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, where what's on your face is not even going to matter soon. Because this is not where it's going to be processed anymore. Everything's going to be processed remotely. So we are living in exciting times, and we just want to continue to be a part of it. And that's my long answer.
I agree with you completely. I mean, I've loved everything I've learned in here. I've loved everything from the guests who come on and share their stories and the resources and everything else. But I mean, from everything that you've said and from everything that you're talking about technology wise moving forward, I can't express strong enough to all of you who are out there listening to this show. If you have an interest in doing anything within here, get in here and learn it, and to just jump in and take a chance to spend some time and figure out if it's the right thing for you, because the opportunities are going to be there, but only for those who are already entrenched in it. I mean, if you miss this bus, it's going to go right by you, and you're going to have to wait for it to come all the way back around again, and it's just going to take This
true.
is the opportunity. This is the time right now.
It
Get
is.
in here, learn the basics at the very least. Even if you love your job and you plan on doing the job that you have right now forever, I mean, if you're going to stay current and needed, you need to have some of these skills because everything's changing so fast. And for those of you who've brought your business into the metaverse, I mean, I see G-Deuce out there, like, you bring your business into here in the metaverse, you're already bridging that gap. And the technology that you've learned while you've been in here, you've been able to incorporate it for monetizing and enhancing your already existing business. So, either come in here and learn something new or grow what you already know. So,
That's true.
well, I am very grateful to everything that you've been able to share with us. Let's put your contact information up on the screen so that if people are interested in maybe talking to you, learning a little bit more about what you're doing in here, they can reach out to you on IG or find you somewhere in the
Sure.
metaverse, whether it's here or Horizon or Cluster, wherever you
So,
are.
definitely, if you guys need to get in touch with us, you can just hit us up on IG or you can get us at MetatechVR at Gmail. And, there's the information right there. And we'll get back to you as soon as possible. If there's something that you're interested in, or even if you want to arrange a visit, I know a lot of people that does things in the metaverse. If you're ever in the New York area and, we know each other and stuff like that, reach out and say, hey, I want to come by and see what's going on at the studio. And if, we have availability or I'll make availability based on when maybe you can come through. And then I can show you exactly what we're doing. Like she said, we've had some people come through so far, and they had a good time. And I could probably scan you and show you exactly what's going on.
Such a great experience. I'm definitely hoping I'm going to be out in that area soon. I would love to check all that out. So thank you, Tech and Jedi and Joe. Thank you for coming on and being here today and sharing all this information with us. We appreciate your visit. And next week, we are actually going to have Dunderbuilds on from Horizon Worlds, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what they're doing over there in the city of Adam and some of his, building work that he's got going on. For any of you who are new to the show, we do record all of these episodes and put them up on YouTube. So this will be up for viewing later on our YouTube channel. If you go on Instagram and follow us, Crypto City VR, there is a link tree there with all of our socials, and the link to our YouTube channel as well is on there. You can always message me on Instagram as well, and I can send you the information if you want to get on there. But you can see all the past episodes as well. So if there's any information about AI, Web3, NFTs, crypto, anything that you're interested in, there might be stuff on there that you'll find interesting. And if you have any questions for Metatech, then make sure you reach out to them. And I want to thank you all for coming here today and being part of the season 5 opener. Again, this season's going to be amazing. And thank you once again to our sponsors, DJ Marcus J, Kip VR, Fuchsia, Sato Mora, Second Life Rich with Lux VR, and our new sponsor, the Diamond Resilience with Boss Leo. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.